I'm going to do it this way. Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here or listening to the recording afterwards. I'm excited to have a team of folks here today from Reading Universe to share with us about this tool in general, but also help us think about how it might be useful in our educator prep programs specifically. So we have Kelly and Tammy and Carla with us today from Reading Universe. And I'm going to let the three of you go ahead and introduce yourselves, your roles within Reading Universe, and then you can take it away with what you want to share with us today.
Great. Thank you, Stephanie. It's good to be with this group tonight, and I'm a big fan of Stephanie Stoller.
That's very mutual.
Responsive. I'm Kelly Butler. Was with the Barksdale Reading Institute for more than 20 years. It's an institute here in Mississippi that contributed a lot to the work that we did to get us off the bottom in early reading. And I'm now a senior advisor to Reading Universe, and we're going to talk a little bit in a minute about where Reading Universe came from. So, Tammy?
I'm Tammy Mount, and I'm the senior director of Reading Universe. And I have been building websites for teacher professional development for more than 20 years. And a nice coincidence, the first website I ever built was on Gopher and then Netscape, Jim Barksdale's product. So it seems quite right that I am here with Reading Universe. But I was a teacher first and quickly got pulled into doing some research with the Educational Resources Information Center on assessment and evaluation because they needed help building a website, and they got we were all just trying to do what we could do at the time. I wasn't in the classroom for long, and I did not learn how to teach reading. But when my daughter was really struggling in second grade, I realized that there are some amazing individuals in this world who know how to teach children how to read. And when I realized that, I knew that I had to put every bit of experience I have in producing websites for teachers towards teaching teachers how to teach reading. So here I am.
Carla?
Hi, I'm Carla Stanford, and I'm very new to the Reading Universe team, and I'm so excited. I think that my official title is Director. I had to write this down, Director of Instruction and Design, but I'm not exactly sure. But that's okay. I love the work that I'm doing, and I come to this from being a teacher for many, many, many years. And most of those years, I did not really know how to teach kids how to read. I have years of experience in guided reading and with Lucy Calkins, and realized that my kids weren't learning how to read and sought out other training, and had some amazing training with Orton Gillingham and structured literacy, and realized that, oh my goodness, how in the world could this be? And how could I not know? And so I worked with a friend, and we started a nonprofit in Atlanta that trains public school teachers how to teach kids how to read. And I feel like that through that journey of working with teachers and working with kids, I just needed to know more, to do more, to give more. And my path here to Reading Universe is just all of that combined, that it's like this amazing mission to make sure that all teachers have the tools, because it's, you know, not your fault if you don't have it. And we all love our kids, and this is an amazing resource to that is research-based, that actually shows what it looks like with working with kids, and the videos are my very favorite part. So I just have to give that plug. So I'm happy to be here.
Okay, so let me give you a little bit of background about where Reading Universe came into being. It was really a brainchild back in about 2003. I was at the Institute and doing an evaluation of our teacher preparation programs. It was one of two studies I did over the course of those 2 decades. And I was sitting in the back of a pre-service class, observing, taking notes, and it was a mishmash of a lesson. And it occurred to me that neither the faculty member or the students really had a sense about how all of this reading stuff hung together. They were kind of struggling to, this was back in early decades, not too long after the National Reading Panel report. Just struggling just to even name the 5 components of reading. And I realized that we had a lot of work to do to close that gap. And while we have learned a lot over the last 2 decades, I was convinced driving home across the Mississippi Delta that it was possible to put on a single page all of the skills that are involved in teaching reading. And I got a lot of pushback from the State Department and from higher ed faculty saying, you can't do that. It's not a linear process. It's a recursive process and it's integrated. And I said, I know all that, but teachers need a big picture, a snapshot of what all the skills are. And then let's unpack them and we'll tell them how to teach them they are integrated and how they are recursive. But pre-service candidates need to know what each of those skills are, how to teach each one of them, even if they don't teach them in isolation. And so I set out to create what was called the Reading Universe, is still called the Reading Universe, because I likened it to the periodic tables of the universe's elements. And if you're familiar with that table, they all have a position and they are numbered. And as we discover new ones, we add new elements to the periodic tables. And so I've envisioned that reading instruction could be similar to that. And so we created what became known as the taxonomy, and it is the centerpiece of this website. It is designed to be interactive, but it is first and foremost designed to give teachers the big picture of all those skills, and then we unpack it. So Tammy, let's share the screen. We're going to kind of walk you through the site and show you some of the key features. In the very beginning, Barksdale was working in about 180 schools with literacy coaches, and we were working week to week to try to sort of unpack this big picture. And so we had 3 large 3-ring binders of Reading Universe lessons. There were 38 lessons altogether, which is how many weeks there are in a school. And every week we would take a little bit of the taxonomy, unpack it, describe it, how is it related to reading, why it's important, here's how you teach it, now go try it in your classroom and come back the next week and we'll debrief that and then we'll give you another bite of the apple. About 5 or 6 years ago, it occurred to me that we needed to put this on a web platform. We were about to update all the research. And so I approached Noel Gunther at WETA, who had been following our work from the very beginning. And I knew about him because he's the mastermind behind Reading Rockets and LD Online and all of those, thinking he was just going to give me advice about where to go find somebody who could help me build a website. And he was taken with the taxonomy. In fact, he came up with the word taxonomy and said, I think we ought to partner on this. That was a godsend because not shortly after that, Jim Barksdale made the determination that we would sunset the Institute since we had reached our goal of getting us off the bottom. And so it was a nice handoff to WETA, and First Book is also a partner, an analytic partner in this work. So here is the Reading Universe taxonomy. And when I talk about unpacking it, all of these boxes are clickable. It gives you, as you can see, the big picture structured underneath the simple view of reading. It is supported by fluency and writing, because we know that that's an integral part. And then there's a bar down there that explains structured literacy, even though we talk about structured literacy through everything. So, Tammy, why don't you, first of all, talk about the 3 ways to kind of enter the site. This is my favorite way because it's where you get the big picture from the beginning. But there are 2 other ways, if you want to kind of talk about that, and then we'll go and unpack one of the skill explainers.
Sure. A fun fact, most people do not come through the front door of a website. In fact, 98% of people come to a website into some page from Google searches, you all know. But we're doing an awareness campaign, readinguniverse.org, so I'll start here on our homepage. Since we're diving into the topics here, I'll tell you that there are a couple of ways that we allow teachers to browse and explore or search for resources that they're looking for. One is the Explore Teaching Topics. This is a mega nav menu that takes teachers directly to a list of resources around a particular topic. So if I'm interested in phonemic awareness, this link will take me to a landing page. It'll ask me, am I new to phonemic awareness? I might want to start off with a skill explainer. We have one on identifying phonemes, segmenting and blending and manipulation. But if I'm looking for resources for teaching any of these skills now, I can scroll down and I can find and filter by resource type, essential support, filter by essential support type, or by most relevant. And the resource types, you'll see that we have articles, videos, lesson plans, student practice activities, skill explainers, printables, and decodable text. So if I'm looking for just student practice activities, up will come a list of 8 pretty solid student practice activities just for teaching phonemic awareness. The other way I can search is just really going through a site search. So if I'm looking for, well, I think somebody said Onset Rhyme earlier. Onset Rhyme, I type in Onset Rhyme. I can search the entire site for anything on Onset Rhyme, but I can also drill down by a specific topic within Onset Rhyme if I want to get even more granular, or I could search by media type. So maybe I just want to see videos on Onset Rhyme. I can collect, so I've got Onset Rhyme by video, and I can hit search, and I'm not sure why I didn't get anything, but
Onset Rhyme, you just misprinted onset set.
oh, okay. Okay. Oh, well, you know what? I'm going to chalk that up to stage fright, which I don't have, but my mental, verbal, whatever skills are not working there at the moment. Okay, so if I type in Onset Rhyme correctly and select video and hit search, then I will come up with all of the videos that Reading Universe has on the website related to the skill of teaching Onset Rhyme. We actually have more than 1 page of videos on this skill. Another way that I can search Reading Universe is by clicking on this round button that flashes when I roll over it called the taxonomy. If I click on the taxonomy, I can also find the skill Onset Rhyme. And if I open up this skill, I'll see that, oh, there are actually 2 skills that are folded into Onset Rhyme, and that is Onset Rhyme and also rhyming. Want to dig a little bit deeper into Onset Rhyme, I can see, oh goodness, there's an overview. Oh, wow, when to teach it, how to teach it. This all looks really interesting to me. And at this point, I might go in and look and dive a little bit deeper into an overview of Onset Rhyme. All of the resources that are part of this skill, what we're calling a skill explainer, were actually searchable and discoverable by this keyword search here and also through the Explorer. But here we bundled it into what we're calling the skill explainer, which is a modular approach which breaks down in sequential order of kind of sort of importance. If you're learning this for the first time, you'll want to start with an overview. But if this is something you already know and you really want to just go to the resource hub, you might just click on the resource hub, and that would show you all of the student activities, videos, lesson plans, and materials that you would could use to set up your whole little teaching instruction for your kiddos on Onset Rhyme. And this one in particular has something really special called the PLC Toolkit. And the PLC Toolkit is for professional learning communities. And Kelly, am I doing okay? All
You're
right.
doing great. Keep going. Yeah.
Keep going. In the PLC Toolkit, we've pretty much bundled everything that's in modules 1 through 8, but we've written it and repackaged it for an instructional coach. So here you'll find a downloadable facilitator guide. It's a printable facilitator guide that you, the facilitator, can use. Like, this is what I'm going to do. This is the materials I need. This is how much time it's going to take. This is what the student should do prior to coming to the session we're going to do together. Download a participants guide, so they know what their homework is, how to prepare and what to do, and some guidance during the session. We even put together some Google Slides, so you can download a whole slideshow to put up in front of the teachers, and some quick links to some of the video and media. In this particular guide, the approach we took was video analysis. So you watch, you get an overview, you provide an overview of onset rhyme, background on the instruction, the how, the why, the when, the what, and then you watch a video with Linda Farrell, who's working with a young student who's actually having some trouble. And so you get to observe her corrective feedback. You get to see the child where they're struggling and when they start to learn it, and what Linda does that really kind of helps that child turn the corner and understand and grasp the whole concept and ability to do it. Carla mentioned that her favorite part of the website are the video, and I'm going to show you a video that we're really happy with, and the skill explainer that we just launched a couple of weeks ago called Letter Names and Letter Sounds. And I think this might be one of the most important skill explainers that we'll launch. And I think we're going to direct a lot of teachers to this starting point in the taxonomy of understanding word recognition and going from phonological awareness to phonics. And this little video will kind of give you an idea of kind of holistically what we hope teachers will achieve with their students and their instruction. And this model video of Carla Miller, who's warming up with a deck. And when I first learned about accuracy and automaticity was when my daughter's teachers were saying, oh, she can't do her math problems fast enough. That's not what we mean by automaticity or mastery of a skill, but when you watch this video, you'll get a sense of what it really is in reading instruction. So I'm going to play it really quick.
We're just going to say the name of the letter and the sound. Are you ready?
G. Y.
Okay, let's do that one more time.
Y. E. N.
Long sound.
E.
Good. Q.
U.
Rule. Q and U are
Stuck like glue.
So that's a quick video at the top that just gives you a sense, gives like a glimpse into what the practice is with letter names, teaching letter names and letter sounds. And we go on to explain what articulation is, why it's important when you're saying the sounds, some words and some letters that kids are going to get stuck on. This is just a quick overview of teaching the B sound. And then a little bit of the letter formation. So when we're teaching letter sounds and letter names, the teacher who is new to this concept is going to get a pretty good idea just from this one page that we don't teach letter names in isolation of letter sounds, that the sounds, the articulation, the formation all help map that information in the brain. And that's kind of where we start.
Let's stay there for just a minute. I want to point out that at the top, you'll see, again, the simple view of reading. And so one of the things that I think is distinct about Reading Universe is always connecting back to the big picture. Because when teachers are first learning about all these skills, it can be very confusing. Am I doing phonics or am I doing phonological awareness? And at any point in time, we want the teacher to know where she's standing in the reading universe. And so there's always this visual at the top of the screen that tells you kind of where you are.
Yeah, and I'll point out that it's in the visual. So the star means I'm in phonics, and I can click on phonics and I can see where I am in the context of it and go to any other phonics skill from there. But also the breadcrumb at the top of the page lets me know that this skill is within phonics and word recognition.
All right, let's jump to a couple of the other features. Open up some of the decodable text, some of the actual resources, show some of those before we leave the skill explainer. And then let's go and look at some of the other features, the maxims, the timely talks, and some of those.
So you want to look at some decodable text. So we have
We've created our own decodable text series.
so what I have
We
done
would
here, I'm looking for
download
I'll just show you how I got to them. I went to phonics and I landed on the phonics page. And if I go here to resource type, I can select decodable text. And up will come all the decodable text that we have for each of the phonics patterns. And let's go to, oh boy, these were so much fun to work on. The youth troop soup. Every downloadable printable resource, every video on the website has a little page like this. Teachers can, heart it or send it to a friend or print from right here. If I download the PDF, it comes in a couple of pages. So the first page is for the teacher. Do we want to talk about this a little bit, Kelly?
Go ahead.
Helpful?
You're doing fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
The first page of the decodable text provides a phonics focus. So this is vowel teams. There's some warm-up words here and some heart words for the teacher just to work with on the kids in advance. They are, numbered lines so the teachers can track along with the students doing their fluency, a couple of vocabulary words that they might want to cover, and some questions for comprehension. And then there is a student page that also includes the warm-up words and the text on the screen. The decodable text series, we have 80 decodable text. So for some skills, we have more than one. We have a guide on how to use decodable text. So everything that I just kind of ran through really quickly in this little talk about it is also in the form of a just an overview of how to use, what are the word count, what's the word count for, and how and why would you use it? What are the warm-up words, kind of a step-by-step guide to using it, including the fluency calculator reference card at the end. And the other thing that's super handy is that we have a little catalog list of all of the decodable text. So if you're looking for decodable text by short vowels, double consonants, suffixes, digraphs, trigraphs, and so on and so forth, you can take them off right here. So if you're doing SH, you've got the posh ship and the wish, and they're right here.
We've also made them as printer friendly as we can, so they're easy to download and that they're easy to print and not use a lot of color ink at your end. So, okay, let's go to the big picture. And did you want to show something else?
I just wanted to show you my favorite resource.
Okay.
And those are the flashcards. Because
Oh, these
I
are
think
cool.
it's just a really fantastic resource for teachers. We have flashcards for handwriting. We have flashcards for practicing phonological awareness. So, and all of the keywords that we use from phonological awareness over to, handwriting and through to all of, the phonics patterns, we utilize the same visual vocabulary. And we also give teachers various sizes for small group instruction and whole class instruction. So, all right, big picture.
Hey, and Tammy, before we leave the skill explainer, can I just talk about that for 1 second? I had an aha moment the other day. On the skill explainers, one day I was having a conversation with Noel, and he was like, Carla, there's not enough people like the people at Mount St. Joe and like the people that were working with Kelly and the people that were working at Reef that can go out into schools and be in the classroom with teachers every day. And so I really understand that after having that conversation with him is that Reading Universe is about giving those resources to teachers who don't have the face-to-face necessarily all the time. And so when I think about the Skill Explainer, which has all these 9 resources in it, Marion McBride, who came and did much of this work with Kelly before I was even around. And now like I'm jumping in where she left off and writing, but this is like all the content that you would get if you were sitting in a face-to-face staff development with someone and they were like, okay, here's like what you need to know. You need to know this content, but you also need to know like, this is where it fits. And then you also need to understand like the lesson changes in this way. And here's the structure of the lesson. And wait, here are the tips you need to think about when choosing words. And now you got to think about syllables or whatever. So all of that lives inside of a presenter or an expert's brain about how to teach reading is living here in this document for this Skill Explainer. And I just think that's really cool because if you don't have access to having an expert to sit with you right in front of you, you can go here and read it. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you for saying that. Also, we've tried not to be too wordy because teachers have said, show us, don't just make us read about all of it. But in working with Stephanie Staller, we've also begun to map how some of these modules and pieces of information fit in with the syllabi at College of Mount St. Joe. So I don't know, Stephanie, if you've told this group about our presentation at the AACTE. We did a poster together to try to marry the work of Reading Universe to the great work that the college is doing to change syllabi and really restructure what's out there. So you want to say anything about that, Stephanie?
I don't think so, but I think we'll talk about it with the group once we've had the full tour.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about, because I'm sure
Okay.
everybody's wheels are turning about how they can use this in their courses. I know I'm taking lots of notes myself, so.
All right. All right, so this is back to the big picture, and there are several things in this. This is the purpose of this link on the website is just try to put some of what we're doing here in a larger context. So Stephanie, you want to, Tammy, you want to walk through what's under this tab?
Sure. So this tab, the big picture, pulls together some research that if you're a parent, if you're a teacher, if you're a professor, you may or may not already know about it, but if you're going to read anything, this is what you are going to read. And or if you are someone who is saying, you know, there are so much out there and I'm getting so read, I don't know who to trust. There are some common names and there's some just information here that can allow teachers who we know are consumers of lots of media and a lot of information and just talk to them and present the research in ways that matters to them and really speaks to the heart of why they're teachers. So the first article that we put together, we asked Dr. Sean Reardon from Stanford University to talk about the achievement gap. And it's an article for Reading Universe, and it's how do I say this? It's not your typical it's not a dense article academic article. It is a rigorous, complete, comprehensive analysis that really talks about the state of reading in our country. It talks about the NAEP scores. It talks about where we're failing, where we're seeing improvement, but we have so far to go. And it's not a horribly lengthy article, but it really kind of punctuates the urgency of where we are and where we need to be and where we need to go. And then that's followed by a video that Noel Gunther put together with Kareem Weaver when we this was the very first video we ever filmed for Reading Universe. And it's Kareem's personal story around why this investment and this topic is the cause of his lifetime. And for most of us, it's the cause of ours as well. And that's followed by Reed Lyons' 10 Maxims and what he's learned over 50 years of reading research. So imagine putting that into 10 points, and I'm going to pull them up and I'm going to put them on the screen, and I'm just going to give everyone a little bit of time to read through them. And I think that you'll agree that they probably resonate. And interestingly enough, when I first started giving some friends and families some demonstrations of Reading Universe before we launched, my sister-in-law, who's a 4th grade teacher, out of everything on the website, she's like, Mom, Tim, I just want to print the 10 Maxims. Print buttons not working. Out of everything, that's what she went to, the 10 Maxims. I wasn't even sure that was the right title. But again, we've taken some really hard to define topics and concepts, and worked with people who have just spent their life working in this research and perfecting the craft of conveying its importance and its kind of defining moments that will motivate us to do better in our work. And the 10 Maxims, and that's what that is.
So it's a useful resource if you're trying to make the case in a district or school, because this is the premier researcher and codifier of all this research. There are also 35 pages of citations that back up these 10 maxims. So and that's another useful tool for pre-service if you're thinking of trying to figure out what to have your pre-service candidates to read, and you're talking about one of the 10 maxims specifically, then you can match that up. And so we're really proud to be the owners of these 10 maxims, and I'm grateful to Reed for helping us.
And then I think kind of the icing on the cake, I'm just going to spend a little bit of time talking about the Timely Talks. These are long format videos. They are, you'll recognize probably Margaret Goldberg, Dr. Julie Washington, and Dr. Elsa Carnderis Hagen. 3 individuals that Noel has had the opportunity to participate and observe their talks to teachers on the national stage. And he said, I want to bring what you just did to Reading Universe, so every teacher has the opportunity to hear and listen and watch what you've done. And truthfully, as a producer and a web producer, lots of different formats, I said, you want to do what? We can't take a lecture and put it up for 60 minutes. I said, we're an interactive website. So, you know what, we were able to take some tips that we've learned with doing online interviews and presentations, and made this something that's really quite engaging. So Margaret's not only talking about orthographic mapping, we're actually showing it through graphics and illustrations, so that there is the text and the language and the vocabulary and the visuals on screen are supporting what she's saying. So she's taking some of these really hard to grasp concepts for those of us who are new to this science, and lays it out in a very compelling way. This video has over 305 watch hours on YouTube, and it just launched last September. So without a doubt, teachers have no problem with the long format and are really eating it up. Each chapter is about 10 minutes long, a little less than 10 minutes long. And then not so shortly after that, we launched the Julie Washington talk on teaching children to read who speak African-American English. And in Julie's very engaging way, she breaks down and brings to the front some really hard to talk about and challenging things that need more conversation, so that we all feel more comfortable talking about it, recognizing it, and following through on our promise to every student in the classroom. And Elsa's in the edit room. When her talk goes up, we'll let you know.
And I'd
And
like
she'll-
to get an interview at some point in the future with Stephanie Stoller talking about the multi-tiered system of support, which she's so eloquent about. For
I would
future,
love that. That would be awesome.
yeah, good. It would be awesome. Okay. Have we covered the waterfront, Tammy?
I believe we have.
Then let's open it up for questions or comments. I appreciate the feedback that some of you have given in the chat. The color coding, it was from the very beginning, we've shifted the palette now that we have a real graphic designer. The original taxonomy was primary colors, really created on an Excel spreadsheet. And we lived with that for about 15 years before we got some designers involved. But the color coding does have a function so that you kind of reinforces where you're standing and which part of the simple view you're standing in, we think helps. So whoever said that, thanks for that comment. What are the reactions? We'd love your feedback. This is to be for teachers by teachers. And we welcome the feedback and reactions that you have.
So I just love all the things that you've shown us. And so my head is also just buzzing with ideas. Just one thing I'd also like to say is when you were showing the videos, I really liked how you put the time code in there so that if you just wanted to show a certain section or when to stop or start, that's just a really helpful feature. So
Good, thank you.
I know I'll use that.
There's a wonderful video on the language side of the Simple View around inferencing. We're still building a lot of that out. We've tried to focus on one piece at a time, but in many of the longer videos, none of the videos are very long, but some that are a little bit longer that show a full lesson, for example, have some narration and some captions so that you can also, for someone who's watching it solo, can understand what's going on. There's some instruction design built into that. So that's another feature. Other thoughts?
Oh, so when we are showing the videos, so with students or, like with pre-service teachers or in a professional development, what is the best way to give attribution or acknowledgement to the reading universe? What is your preferred way of us acknowledging?
Thank you. That's a very thoughtful gesture. It's free and open source. So the real citation goes back to its host site, which is WTA in Washington. There are some resources within the Reading Universe. You'll see there are some things that are written by particular people. So you would need to honor whatever copyright exists for some of those. We have permission to post things. Some things are written specifically for Reading Universe, but we like to cite the authors whenever possible. And one, because we think they deserve the credit, and two, it gives us further credibility because we were using a number of really important scholars in this work, and it's nice to lift up their work. So, but that's a thoughtful request.
I have a question on your PLC toolkit. It's for coaches for PD, but I see its value in using it for alternative licensure teachers to watch and digest and filter through a lesson. Are those guides transferable across videos?
Well, our goal is actually to unpack the entire taxonomy and create some PLCs around clusters of single skills, or depending on what the skill is, or clusters of skills. And so there will actually be lifted up a specific thing that's being demonstrated in a video. And then there's a format to the PLC that's kind of standard. Am I answering your question?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So I didn't know if like a video guide would be transferable across to skill set for like a cluster of videos, like you said. So that
Yeah.
would be great. It's like
Yeah.
we're looking for this to be done when you're teaching this skill.
Well, and ultimately, there are two things in sort of in the queue. There's lots in the queue. One of the things in the queue is also creating kind of a scope and sequence for, say, first year, first grade teachers that would help a coach or a lead teacher kind of figure out, okay, what are the things I need to introduce to this group? And in what sequence do I need? And what's on there that's not overwhelming, but gives them enough so that it's a good guide for how to explain it. We're hoping to make some, planning to make some useful guides for folks like that who can, because there's so much on there. It's hard to know, kind of where to go. And so we're hoping to create some of those guides. In particular, a new user guide, a new teacher guide for a new teacher that's just exploring the site on their own to help them know kind of what's the suggested way that I should approach this? What are some of the things that I should look at first? The temptation is to chase a lot of rabbits because there are lots of rabbit holes in this place, but to give some structure to it so that people just don't get lost in,
Yeah,
it's easy
thank
to,
you.
it's easy
It's
to
wonderful.
get on a search mode.
Well, that's what you're talking about there is exactly what we wrestle with in teacher prep, because you might have 2 reading courses, 16 weeks each, and that's it. And so to try to distill the universe of literacy, within that structure, you might have 45 minutes where you can talk about phonemic awareness. And so you have to make these really difficult choices about what is the thing that I want to make sure that my students leave this course with and are able to do. So,
Well, I
That's
hope,
exactly.
Stephanie, that we can do some more work together on that because y'all are so far ahead of more pre-service in terms of the syllabi and structure and sequence of things. And it would be really, I mean, I think, if you were able to guide your pre-service candidates to, we're going to talk about this. You only have 45 minutes to actually do the instruction, but between now and the next session, I want you to go and look at these 3 things on the
Yeah.
reading verse. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I would want to engage, this STARS in higher ed group because at Mount St. Joe, we have 5 reading courses for our undergrads, and everybody in Ohio is required to have at least 4. So it's only in my interaction with folks at other universities that I encounter this reality of like, you might have a course or 2. So, we could really engage this group to help make some of those decisions about what is the piece that you integrate into your course. And as you're saying, what is the piece that you assign for the homework? And I just love the idea of using these videos and having discussion about analyzing the instruction. There's just nothing like seeing it,
Yeah.
especially for those of us in higher ed who maybe didn't have an experience themselves teaching children in a structured, explicit way. So you don't have your own background experience to draw on. So to see it yourself on a video is just very powerful.
We're also in conversation with Katie Pace Miles, who's been asked by the state of New York or the city of New York, I don't know which, to develop a micro-credential. It's related to licensure, but it's a sort of a crash course. And I think the work that we may do on that will be useful to you as well.
Definitely.
To sort of decide what's important and within the certain time frame. So more about that later.
Nice.
So all of you all are teaching pre-service somewhere right now? Is that who's in this audience?
Yep. Yeah.
And
the rock stars.
are you, you're not all in Ohio. Where are you all from? Kim,
I'm from
right?
Massachusetts.
Houston,
I'm in Texas,
Texas?
College Station, Texas. Yes.
Yeah, and I'm in Colorado and I work for a BOCES in the alternative licensure program. So, it's a little more challenging because we don't have face-to-face. I mean, our alt licensed candidates are spread all over the state and it's all online. I try to do some meetings so that we can get together as a cohort, but then it's really hard because everybody's in a different place because it's a self-paced course. And we have SPED teachers in that program that, you know, that required the Foundations of Reading course. So yeah, it's been fun to build out, but I'm learning along the way.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite items on the Reading Universe is the 10 Maxims. It's just, I think that's a tremendous document. And it didn't dawn on me until just this presentation today, how useful I think that might be for conversations among faculty. So I wanted to throw that out there and see what other people think. You know, at the Mount, we've done several book studies, you know, with like, we did Language at the Speed of Sight. But to just read the document with the maxims and let people react and share their thoughts and experiences and what their knowledge base is with those 10 statements about what's in the research, I think would be a really good conversation starter. Because the people who are here are the people who are already moving in this direction, right? But they have colleagues all around them who are maybe not at the same place. So I don't know, what do you all think about using those 10 maxims in that way?
Well, I really like that idea, Stephanie, because the work that I'm doing here in Massachusetts is the state has just published their new criteria for program approval for teaching early literacy, and it applies to all teachers in the pre-K through 2 licensure, so really early ed, elementary education, and moderate disabilities. So it goes through all those areas. So, you know, we're working with faculty who've been teaching, you know, in their little silos, and now they all have to teach the same thing. And I think that's a very nice way to get everybody together. You know, you just say, we just can talk about these 10 things.
Right.
So it doesn't seem overwhelming, but those are really, they will give you the commonality that you need.
Yeah.
Well, to give you a little bit of background on those maxims, Claude Goldenberg, this was when I was still facilitating the Lunch and Lit series, which is our Friday forum that you should share with this group, Stephanie, if you haven't already. But Claude sent these 4 or 5 statements that that Readline had been making to the media. He and Emily Hanford were in a lot of conversation, and every time he got a call from the media, he would say these 4 or 5 things, that this is what we know. I mean, you know, let's stop debating this. This is what we know. And so I said, so I invited him on Lunch and Lit, and through that I said, you know, there really ought to be, there are probably more than 4 or 5 things that we know. Let's make it a nice round 10. And because we really wanted to make sure we'd covered the Simple View waterfront. And we had a number of folks, not a big group, but some of the familiar researchers you would know, and talk about wordsmithing, getting them to agree on how you word maxim 4 or whatever it was. But anyway, they came around, and I finally just drew the line in the sand and said, we enough wordsmithing, we're going to go with these, and they've stood the test of time. So, but it would be an interesting discussion to have with your faculty. I think it's a great idea.
Any other ideas, questions for the Reading Universe folks? Requests? I know they've got a lot in the queue already, but
Well, this isn't a reading question, but it's a writing question. Is there anything similar to this being done? And boy, I wish I would have had this when I tried to make the class by myself. And when you're the adjunct and you're the only one that believes in the 10 maxims. Anyway, there you have it.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. We do have a whole writing universe that's being developed.
Oh, cool.
It was not a part of the original Reading Universe. We did teach some writing, but we were really focused on getting teachers up to speed on teaching reading. And but Noel Gunther was very insistent that we needed to show how writing and reading relate, and we totally agreed. So we have contracted with Joan Sedita to help us build out the writing universe. It will begin with scribbling and letter formation all the way through the writing process to publishing. And so we believe it's going to be, it certainly will be the only free site, but it will be I think the only site that really explains and unpacks all of the things involved in writing. So we are just now beginning that work. So we will be adding some of those early foundational writing skills pretty soon. But right now, really what we've loaded is K2 content. And we've got this whole project built out. It's a $25 million project built out over several phases. Unless somebody gives us a big boatload all at one time, it's going to take us to the end of 2027 to finish it. But we did talk to a big funder today who's quite interested in it. And so maybe we'll get lucky and get to accelerate that. But we appreciate your interest in it.
Thank you. That would be great.
I'm
Yeah,
eager
well-
to see it used. Noel keeps saying it's a web service for teachers of pre-K through 6th grade of reading and writing. And I keep saying, and for adjunct faculty and their pre-service candidates, because I do think it's going to be a great resource.
Yeah.
And I know y'all will use it, and then we can show people how to use it because you'll do it well.
Well, I'll be happy to collect the stories about how it's being used. So you all let me know, and definitely share in the trainers Facebook group, and we'll keep these guys fueled to keep adding more content to it and give you some stories to share with those potential funders.
Well, let me also invite you to suggest teachers and schools that we should visit to film in, because you will know what to look for. And it can be a wild goose chase sometimes. People send in and say, I've got the best teacher, and you go and observe, and lo and behold, they're the best balanced literacy teacher you ever saw. So, you know, and it's quite a process to get into classrooms and get over the hurdles of permission and all that. But we have a team that's filming and traveling around the country, and we'd love any ideas you have or folks, because we're trying to hit all regions of the country.
Nice. Well, we will share that with you as well.
I just put my email address in the chat. If anyone has any feedback or ideas or wishes, send them our way.
That's great. Thank you for that.
Well, you all are stars. I've done a lot of work with teacher preparation over a long period of time, and it's so heartwarming to meet folks like you and the disciples of Stephanie Staller. It's great work. It's great work you're doing, and I know it's brave work, and I know that in some places it's really hard because you're the only voice singing the right song. So keep it up. You know, you got some cheerleaders here.
Absolutely.
I'll just say that in some of the conversations I've been having with other colleagues in higher ed, is that some people eventually will say, you know, I was trained, you know, years and years ago, and I didn't really learn this. Where can I learn this? Sort of, they want to go to Science of Reading Anonymous, where they can, you know, like admit what they don't know. And I think that this site is a wonderful opportunity to do that. They can just go on their own and like really learn.
Yeah.
And
that's a great point.
Good. We hope so. We hope so.
We'll definitely be
We've
spreading
heard
the
what-
word.
Do you have statistics off the top of your head? We've heard from all 50 states. We have registrations from all 50 states and 180 countries. So
Wow.
people are interested in what we've launched. We just got to keep at it, get it all out there.
And if you are if you're interested in our newsletter, you can, which goes out every month. And I'll give you a link right to the newsletter sign-up sheet. We'll keep you informed on the new content that we're publishing.
And give an
Right.
extra point if your pre-service candidates register too.
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
extra credit assignment.
But you know, like as soon as we publish the 10 Maxims article, it was in our newsletter. We just do it once a month, and it's usually really chock full of some pretty amazing resources. And like Kelly said, we are publishing new content every week. So
One thing you can do is go online and download the expanded version of the Reading Universe taxonomy and post it in your classrooms. Right next to the view.
show you, I'll post that. You know, I can only get the Chrome extension because I'm on Chrome. Let me open up another browser really quick and I'll launch that for anybody who wants a quick link to it.
That's great, because I'll put those links in our trainers Facebook group, but also post them with the recording on the center's website, so we can spread that to everybody who watches the recording.
PDF is what Kelly and Marion called the placemat. And you know, it is the it's the master list of all the skill explainers that we're producing and rolling out. So
Perfect.
All free.
Love it. Love it, love it.
When we were doing some market studies right at the very beginning, when we partnered up with WTA and First Book, and we were surveying teachers and where they were going to, 79% of the teachers in classrooms go to Teachers Pay Teachers for resources. And while we don't necessarily want to put them out of business, we certainly want to give them an alternative that's reliable for everything that they download. So. Thank you for the
that.
invitation to be here, Stephanie.
Oh
This
my
is-
gosh. Thank you, ladies, for all of your amazing work and for spending some time sharing it with us, because I know that we're going to take this and run with it. I can just tell. So I really appreciate your time, and you will continue to hear from this group for sure.
Good. And likewise.
Good. It's great to be
Right.
connected. Well,
Have a
thank you
great
all.
day, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.